This is Dr. Aparna. I am your emotional healing synergist. I am an Ayurvedic psychotherapist, a passionate infopreneur, edupreneur, medical writer, and a budding YouTuber. In my pursuit to address, promote, and propagate Ayurveda and psychotherapy globally, I come up with discussions or talk throughs every week, either on Ayurveda or psychotherapy, mental health, and related aspects. So, today's session is a continuation session on the emotional metamorphosis journey. How do we transform ourselves through books? So today's book is a wonderful book. It is a thought provoking book, and when I read this book, I was almost mind blown. So, uh, one of my favorite books. This book is called as Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Kahneman. So, this Thinking Fast and Slow book is written by Daniel Kahneman. He is a Nobel laureate in economics and a renowned psychologist. So, this book explores the two main systems of thinking that govern human cognition. This book was, published in 2011. So, two main systems in the sense. System 1. See, system 1 is this is fast, automatic. When I talk about systems, imagine a brain with two hemispheres, and the first system is fast, automatic, intuitive thinking. That means it is involuntary, so it operates effortlessly and quickly. If you have to count 2 plus 2, you don't have to count because you know it that 2 plus 2 is 4. If you happen to go near the fire, you suddenly take your hand off from the fire because you know the fire would burn your hand or burn your organ. So, this is the fast and automatic and intuitive thinking. This operates effortlessly and quickly, making snap judgment and decisions based on heuristics. Heuristics are mental shortcuts and intuition. So, however, if this system 1 is not used correctly, this can lead to biases and errors. So, this is slow, deliberate. The system 2, this is system 1. Next is the system 2. System 2 is slow, deliberate, and analytical thinking. It analyzes, logical and analytical thinking. It requires efforts, conscious attention, and logical reasoning. So, the system 2 thinking is more deliberate and takes time to process information thoroughly. So, reading this book, is really a thought provoking because it is if you are interested in reading books on psychology, on neuroscience, this is one of the book you have to read. So, as I said, the system 2, there are two systems. One is fast, one is slow. One is automatic, one is deliberate. One is intuitive thinking, one is analytical thinking. So, one is effortless, one requires effort. One is, quick, and another is conscious attention. One is, on making snap judgments like this, and one is by logical reasoning. So, this book, in this book, the author delves into various cognitive biases. Cognition means thinking. Various thinking biases and heuristics, as I said, you can understand it as mental shortcuts. I'll explain it in the session. What exactly is heuristics that influence decision making, showing how they impact areas such as economics, psychology, and everyday life. Even though the author is a psychologist, he is a very good economist as well. So these cognitive biases and heuristics will influence not only the decision making but also influence how areas like economics, psychology, and everyday life can be impacted. So in this book he provides with numerous examples and case studies to illustrate these concepts. So this book emphasizes that both systems play crucial roles in our thinking, but they have their strengths and weaknesses. So here author argues that understanding the interplay between system 1 and system 2 can lead to better decision making, improved problem solving, and a deeper understanding of human behavior, that is psychology. So, Thinking Fast and Slow, this book has been widely acclaimed because of its insights into human cognition, that is, thinking. So, and has significant impact on fields ranging from psychology and economics to the business and the public policy. So, and about the author, Daniel Kahneman is, a psychologist and an economist. So he is renowned for his groundbreaking work in the field of behavioral economics and cognitive psychology. So his most notable work, is has focused on revealing the systemic biases and heuristics, that is mental shortcuts that affect how people make judgments and decisions. So in 2002, Kahneman was awarded the Nobel Prize in economic sciences for his groundbreaking contribution in the integration of insights from psychological research into economic science, particularly concerning human judgment and decision making under uncertainty. So, Thinking Fast and Slow. If you ask me, why should we read this book, Aparna? See, this book has so many practical applications. Because how, before delving into the book, what are the contents of the book, what are the concepts explained, what are the examples? So why this book is important is to understanding human decision making. So this book provides profound insights on how our minds work and the processes that govern our decision making. So, practical applicability is this understanding can be applied in various aspects of life, such as personal finance, career choices, and everyday problem solving. So, recognizing cognitive biases. So, we can recognize cognitive biases. So cognitive biases mean thinking biases. How? So here author exposes the numerous biases that influence on our thinking. By shedding light on the common pitfalls in judgment. That means where we fail in judging things, in judging, you know, um, and the practical applicability is awareness of the biases can help us make more informed and rational decisions. So more thought through decisions we can take both personally and professionally, and this improves critical thinking. That means this book encourages readers to engage in system 2 thinking, that is promoting more deliberate and analytical approaches to the problem. So more thought through approach, promotes, and practical applicability here is enhanced critical thinking skills. Critical thinking is when you go through every aspect of it and more thought through. and more logical and analytical approach. So this can, what can this do is, this helps in problem solving, and this helps how to communicate for more effective communication and improve decision making in complex situations. So this also enhances financial decision making. That means the concepts of prospect theory and loss aversion are particularly relevant to economics and finance, providing a new perspective on risk and reward. So practical applicability is readers can make more informed here. This book also helps in more enhancing our financial decision making, you know more improved financial decisions, so to take, and all of us can make more informed investment choices, managing finances more effectively and avoiding, common investment pitfalls. That means common investments lags. So avoiding common decision making pitfalls. That means this book also highlights scenarios where our intuition and quick thinking can lead to suboptimal outcomes and offer strategies to mitigate the errors. That means quick thinking, as I said, that there should be deliberate and thought through thinking as well. At times we have to take you have we have to make use of system 1 for quick thinking, that can lead to outcomes and strategies. So we have to use system 1 and system 2 to get optimal outcomes. And when we have some time, if there is no time, you have to take decision quickly, then system 1 comes into play. So by recognizing and avoiding these drawbacks, individuals can make better decisions and a wide range of situations, from career choices to personal relationships. So this book also helps in understanding improving of negotiation skills. So understanding the anchoring effect and framing can provide a significant advantage in negotiations. So here the practical applicability here is being aware of these psychological phenomena that can lead to more favorable outcomes in negotiations, whether in business, whether in legal matters or personal interactions. And this book also helps in enhancing self awareness. So this book prompts introspection and self reflection about one's own thinking processes and potential biases. Once you start reading the book, you come across, okay, this is how I think, and this is how I can make potential biases are made. So greater self awareness can lead to improved self regulation, better decision making and more effective communication with others. So this books also help teaches us to apply behavioral economics to everyday life. That means, Kahneman's work in behavioral economics offers valuable insights into how individuals make economic decisions in real world situations. So this knowledge can be applied to personal finance, business management, marketing strategies, and public policy. So, improving leadership and management skills, understanding human behavior and decision making is crucial for effective leadership and management. This book helps to improve leadership skills and management skills. So, applying the leadership and management skills from the book can lead to better team dynamics, more effective communication, and improved decision making in leadership roles. So, making informed policy and public outcomes. So, this book also helps in making more, informed policy decisions. That means this provides insights into how individuals and groups make decisions. So policymakers can use this knowledge to design more effective policies and interventions that take into account the biases and heuristics that influence the public behavior. So this book, as I said, offers all of us with invaluable, insights into human cognition and decision making, and with practical applications in various aspects of personal and professional life. So, while delving into the book, what are the concepts explained in the book? So, as I said, the main thing which is talked about is system 1 and system 2. So, author introduces two systems of thinking. System 1, as I said, is fast, automatic, and intuitive, while system 2 is slow, deliberate, and analytical. When you quickly recognize a friend's face, that is system 1 at work. When you solve a complex math problem, you are engaging in system 2. As I said, for solving, for to remember somebody's name, you don't have to work every time. So that is system 1. You will, when you see them, you recognize them, and when you have to solve a complex issue, then you are engaging in the system 2, a logical and analytical thinking, more thought through system. So heuristics, here heuristics is the second concept explained. See, heuristics are mental shortcuts or rules of thumb that system 1 uses to make quick judgments. So, availability heuristics, that means if you have recently heard about a plane crash, you might overestimate the likelihood of a plane crash while making travel plans. So, recently you have heard some plane crash, of an incident of a plane crash, and when you are next time traveling in the flight, you get a thought of plane crash. That is availability heuristics. So if I have to explain in detail, so here, author Daniel Kahneman extensively discusses heuristics, which are mental shortcuts that our minds use to make quick judgments and decisions. The heuristics are part of system 1 thinking, which operates automatically and effortlessly. So, while heuristics are often useful, they also can lead to systemic biases and errors in judgment. So, Kahneman provides various examples to illustrate different types of heuristics. So, availability heuristic, as I said, you know, if you recall something suddenly, so this heuristic relies on ease with which examples or instances come to mind. As I said, plane crash. If something is easily recalled, it is perceived as a more common or important. So here, author discusses how people often overestimate the frequency of rare events such as shark attacks, plane crash after seeing news coverage or movies about them. So, if you constantly happen to see some bad news or something like that, you overestimate the frequency of the event. So, that is availability heuristic. So, and next is representativeness heuristic. That means this involves, categorizing something based on how similar it is to a prototype or a stereotype. That means here author describes a scenario where individuals judge a person's profession based on their appearance, even though it may not be a reliable indicator. So representativeness heuristic is you are judging a book by its cover. The simple explanation, that means you're judging a person based on the appearance, based on how they look, on how they look and how they appear. So that is a representativeness heuristic. our minds are quick to judge, how, based on how they look, how they are dressed. Next is anchoring and adjustment heuristic. So this heuristic involves starting with initial estimate and then adjusting from there. So, but often not, adjusting enough. So example is, author provides an example where participants were asked to estimate the percentage of African countries in the United Nations. So their estimates were significantly influenced by a random number provided by an anchor. So if the anchor provides some if some anchor is providing some random number as 20 or 25, the participants were estimating influenced by that number provided by the anchor rather than the original thing. So we get influenced by the person in front of us. That is anchoring and adjustment heuristic. So we adjust our thinking according to what is being said. Next is framing effect. So framing effect, if I have to explain, this involves the way options or information is presented, which can influence decision making. So author here discusses how people often make different choices based on how information is framed. For instance, individuals may take more risks to avoid losses than to achieve gains. So framing is whatever, however the framework of the mind is, at that point of time. So on the information, however the information is framed. If somebody says, if you do this, you will gain this, or you will lose this. For the gains, maybe the person may do that, or for the loss, maybe the person will not do that. That means if somebody says, if you bet you will win a certain amount, a great amount, 1 lakh or 2 lakhs, but if they give an option that if you don't bet, you earn around, a fixed price of something like 30,000 or 35,000, people will not take risk because they are earning the same amount. So some people might take risks, to avoid losses, but it is always based on how the information is framed. So that is called framing effect. And something called as halo effect. Halo effect is this is the tendency for our overall impression of a person or entity to influence how we feel and think about their character. That means if in the first instance we like some person, like the character of the person, we think that everything, our brain automatically starts thinking that everything, every quality, every character, everything about this person is good. It can be vice versa also. If we start thinking the overall impression of a person is not good, if we think that this person is not good, just not by knowing him, just by seeing him the impression is not good, then the brain starts to think that the overall, the quality, the character of the person is not good. So halo effect is, if you think the person or the environment is good, you start feeling everything good about it. If you dislike it, if you start disliking everything, and you feel everything is bad about that. So author describes how physical attractiveness can influence judgments about a person's intelligence, trustworthiness, and other traits. Even without evidence, we judge people to be very much likable or very much dislikable. So Next is substitution heuristics. So, substitution heuristics is this occurs when a complex question is replaced with a simpler one that is easier to answer. That means here author gives an example where a person asked about their overall life satisfaction may instead think about their recent experiences, which may not accurately represent their overall well-being. So, if a person has to answer a complex question and the question is asked, but here substitution heuristics is the person links that question to make it simpler. He links that to recent events. As this example goes, a person is asked about how do you achieve overall life satisfaction, how do you feel, how is your life going, some question like that. But the man, to answer it in an easy way, in a simpler way, the complex question, he or she may, think about the thought goes to the recent experience, which may not be accurate in explaining what is the overall well-being. So the next is regression to the mean. That means this is the tendency for extreme events to be followed by less extreme events. So author provides examples of how athletes have exceptionally high performances are likely to perform closer to their average in subsequent competitions. So what happens is, when a athlete is has a exceptionally high performance record, if but can perform, average in the subsequent competition. If in one competition he has an exceptional record, in the next competition, he can perform his or her average in the subsequent competitions. This is something called regression to the mean. This we'll understand as we go into the subject. So hindsight bias is one more bias. So this is the tendency to believe that after an event has occurred that he would have predicted or expected the outcome. So author discusses how people often have a distorted memory of their earlier beliefs or predictions, believing that they were more accurate than they actually were. So बिलीविंग दैट मैंने तो पहले ही कहा था ऐसा ही होगा, ओके दिस इज सपोज टू हैपन लाइक दिस, based on the earlier beliefs. Oh, I said it, this is supposed to happen, this was supposed to happen like this. So people often have a distorted memory of their earlier beliefs. This may be because of their earlier beliefs or prediction. This has nothing to do with reality. They were more accurate. We feel that we are more accurate than actually we are. So understanding these heuristics and their potential biases is crucial for making better decisions. So this, as I said, heuristics is based on system 1. The author describes that while taking these biases, we also have to consider system 2 here, because then we go into the logical and analytical aspect of it. So confirmation bias here is, this involves seeking out information that confirms pre-existing beliefs while ignoring or discounting evidence that contradicts them. So the confirmation bias, this involves seeking out information that confirms pre-existing beliefs. That means only paying attention to the news sources that align with one's political views and dismissing those with differing perspective. Confirmation bias is based on the news or based on what the information received. Without knowing the second perspective, we judge or we take decisions on the best example is political view. If you watch one if you watch if you're watching one news channel and they have a particular political perspective, then what we do is we also follow the same perspective. We do not take the other perspective into consideration. So we only pay attention to the news sources that align with one's political views and dismissing those with differing perspectives. Next is sunk cost fallacy. So the sunk cost fallacy is very much important because this involves continuing an endeavor or decision based on the resources already invested, regardless of the likelihood of success. That means continuing to pour money into a failing project. You know that the project is failing, but you still continue to invest into that project because you have made a significant investment and you don't want to quit now, even though you know that this project will fail. That is called sunk cost fallacy. So I have invested in this project much, so now I will furthermore invest and see I that I don't lose. Instead, although we know that this project is failing, that means the sunk cost fallacy is a cognitive bias. That means a thinking bias that occurs when individuals continue to invest time, money, and or resources into decision, or project based on resources that have already invested. That means even when it is clear that the investment is unlikely to yield a positive return. That means we know that the project will not yield a positive return, still investing into the same project, investing time, money, and resources. In other words, people often feel compelled to continue with the course of action because they've already invested so much. So this can happen in many ways, not only in business. So the fallacy arises because humans have a natural aversion to loss. We all have naturally aversion to loss, and we tend to view the resources that we have already invested as a loss if they were to abandon the endeavor. That means the emotional attachment to past investments can cloud judgment and lead to irrational decision making. That means business investments. So as I said, business investments I have already mentioned. So a company has invested significant capital and resources into a project, but it becomes evident that the project is not meeting its objectives and is unlikely to become profitable. So sunk cost fallacy in action is, instead of cutting their losses and redirecting resources to a more promising project, the company continues to pour resources in the failing project in the hopes of recouping their initial investment. They don't want the loss, they want to recoup. They want to get back their initial investment. They're again investing into resources into the same project. So in personal relationships as well, so a person has been in a long term troubled, toxic relationship, you can say, despite recognizing that the relationship is causing unhappiness and not likely to improve. They stay in it because they have invested so much time and effort. So this is so true. People have invested so much time, effort, and emotions in the relationship. They do not want to get out of that relationship. So the individual may feel that ending the relationship would mean wasting the time they have already spent, leading them to stay in an unsatisfying situation. The next thing is education and career choices. So, a student has invested several years in pursuing a particular degree, but as they near completion, they realize it's not aligned with their interest or career goals. So, a student has invested several years in pursuing some engineering, but as he or she is in the final year, they realize that they are not aligned with their interest or career goals. Their passion is different, their goals are different. Those, so the student may be reluctant to change paths, even if it means pursuing a different field that would ultimately lead to a greater satisfaction and fulfillment, because he or she has invested so many years into this and money into this. So they are reluctant to change paths. Next is gambling. In gambling as well, a person has already lost a significant amount of money at a casino and continues to gamble in the hopes of winning back their losses. So, despite the likelihood of further losses, the individual continues to gamble based on belief that they need to recoup what they have already lost. So next is home renovation. So a homeowner starts a costly renovation project, but he encounters unforeseen problems and escalating costs. So it becomes clear that completing the renovation may not be financially prudent. Once you start a home renovation project, then you come to know that the budget, there are many problems and the budget is not as you have planned. So but instead of stopping the project, the homeowner may feel compelled to continue because of the money and effort already invested, even though it may not be the wisest financial decision. So next is the overcoming the sunk cost fallacy. So recognizing and overcoming the sunk cost fallacy, this is very important, involves in separating emotions from rational decision making. So it is important to evaluate decisions based on the future potential rather than dwelling on past investments. So seeking advice from unbiased parties and considering the potential benefits of redirecting resources can help individuals make more rational choices. So uh, there are so many things to discuss about this book, Thinking Fast and Slow. I have not even entered into most of it. This was just the introduction. We'll talk about the biases, we'll talk about the chapter wise summary in the next session, because we are short of time. So we'll talk everything in the next session. So stay tuned, and if you have already read the book, let me know what are your highlights and key takeaways of the book. And if you want to point out any important key takeaway or an insight, you can comment that in the comment section, and I'll be back in the next session. So thank you and namaste for today.